Man, what's good, family? We are back finally. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. This is another episode of HBCU Fanatics. Of course, I have my co-host, my brother, Mr. Southern himself, Coach 67 Sports TV. What's going on, brother?
I am blessed and highly favored. How you doing this evening, bro?
Man, I'm blessed to do another show, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, and those who are coming in and may catch the replay, hit my like button. Like button is free, not asking for no money. No donation. Just hit my like button, share, subscribe. I
Already.
appreciate it.
And salute to the family in the build down you, Dick.
Absolutely.
Fanatics
I
in the
see
building.
him.
Fanatics in the building earlier, Dick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Relax and calm rain in here early. He said, salute Jared011green chat and HBCU family. Yes, sir. Motivation to be a millionaire. Salute Jared Coach Chat, HBCU Fanatics. Yes, sir. He said, let's go. Yeah, yes, sir. We
Let's get it out the mud, you dig?
well, first of all, man, those who don't know, this been news for what 2 or 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Uh, we lost a talent, young man in the HBCU family. He was part of the HBCU family. He was once a quarterback,
But
promising quarterback at Bethune-Cookman,
yeah.
Dominiq Ponder. Uh, Unfortunately, he lost his life in a car accident. Um, those who don't know, he was on the roster of Colorado because Coach Prime brought him over from Bethune Cookman. And I believe he's one of Ed Reed's recruits as well. When Ed Reed was potentially was supposed to be the head coach at Bethune Cookman at one time. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I honestly believe I think that was one of Ed Reed's recruits, Dominiq Ponder. Um, and it's so unfortunate because this young man was very promised, very talented. A lot of people said that last year they should have tried him out at quarterback last year when Colorado didn't have any identity at quarterback. Matter of fact, I can go as far as saying if he would have stayed at Bethune Cookman, he could have been one of the better quarterbacks at Bethune Cookman if he would have stayed there for the Wildcats. But Coach, what's your thoughts on this tragic situation?
I mean, rest in peace to him. Prayers and condolences to his family. I mean, anytime you see a light extinguish like that at a young age, it's just, you know, and we're not just talking about just from a football standpoint, just from a human perspective, this is someone's son and, people's family member, people's loved one, not just a teammate, not just a player, but, a human being. And at the end of the day, life is bigger than football in the fact that, he lost his life in such a tragic way at a young age, it's unfortunate. And like I say, rest in peace to him. And more than anything, prayers and condolences to his family because,
Yes.
it's just tragic. And, while I'm, you know, uh, saying RIP to him, I kind of also, for individuals that really, rock with my channel, really follow my channel, I want to also say, rest in peace to one of my day one subscribers, Mr. Willie Bolden II. He lived in Dallas. He a diehard member of Jaguar Nation. He graduated from Southern.
Oh
Uh,
man.
yeah, and they're gonna put him. He's gonna be laid to rest next Saturday in Dallas. At St. Luke Community UMC. So R.I.P. to Mr. Willie Bolden II, one of the individuals that really kind of was one of the day one subscribers, and really, I ain't like there were points along this journey that before getting 1,000 subscribers, I really wanted to tap out and really wanted to quit. But individuals like you that kind of kept pushing me, and kept me going, and
Yeah,
really
man.
bold, giving good comments in the comment section. individuals like the two of y'all really kind of kept me going and kind of gave me inspiration to keep putting out content. So R.I.P. to Willie Bowden II and R.I.P. to Quincy Ponder.
Rest in peace to those brothers, man. And shout out to Coach Prime. He did a good job. Brought the family in into mourn with them, and share the good times when you know the good times while the young man was up and about. While he was still on this earth uh, with life, and so yeah, just prayers for the family, man. Um, So yeah, rest in peace to the young brother Dominiq Ponder. Ponder. Uh, and J6, I see you, brother. He said, "Howdy, man, brother." Live with Big Ridge and 86 Ghost, man, y'all. Hopefully y'all still live when I wrap it up, man. But awesome brothers, awesome channels, man. Y'all support these brothers, man. But hopefully just y'all make sure y'all just be careful out here. Be careful out here. um I know tomorrow, you always hear tomorrow is not promised to no one. And that's very true. We always say it, but when it really hits home,
Yeah,
then we understand.
the old folks when we was coming up, they used to say, here today, gone tomorrow. But nowadays, it's here today, gone today. The
Mm.
oldest people don't always die first. The sickest people don't always die first. And I see it in my everyday life because there were instances where we were supposed to do Black Man's Perspective, which we're gonna do tomorrow morning. The law says the same, and supposed to do our wire analysis. But probably the last few months, I've been to so many funerals that some
Mm.
instances supposed to do shows. I really couldn't do it because we got to go lay a distant relative or a church member to rest. So you have to enjoy every precious moment of life, and we just can't take it for granted.
Yeah, you can't. And just whatever you feel like you need to do in this life, do it. Don't procrastinate. Like I'm not the best speaker. Always kind of grew up kind of shy, but I always wanted to have my own YouTube channel. You know what I mean? And I'm doing it, and I'm proud of myself. I don't have a lot of subscribers and everything. Well, I'm getting there.
Oh
I'm
no,
really,
hey, hey,
but
you gonna get that. You gonna
I
get that.
know, I know, just being real. But
But
I
no,
say that to say this: if whatever you're gonna do while you living, do it. I don't care how small, how big, do it, because tomorrow's not promised no one. Go ahead, coach.
and me, a lot of my players, a lot of my students over the years used to tell me, I'm a preacher. Not in a literal context, but I like to preach to people. And, you know, not trying to get too preachy, but I could. And, God, he had equipped Moses, because Moses, he felt like he had a speech impediment. He really didn't speak well. But God had equipped him to do what he needed to do. But he still didn't think he was sufficient. So he gave him Aaron as a mouthpiece to, do all the speaking that needed to be done. So at the end of the day,
Yes,
you
sir.
are well equipped to do everything you need to do. And we're gonna get to that 1,000 subscriber mark and way beyond that. You know what I'm saying? Scott,
Amen.
we just, we're not even scratching the surface. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna get it out the mud one subscriber at a time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And I appreciate all y'all who support, just listen to us babble and carry on. We really appreciate y'all, man.
Oh no, bro, don't sell us short. Hey, we dropping gems and jewels over here. You know what I'm saying?
I know. I'm just trying to be modest here. uh, Brent Fox, my brother, man, another up and coming YouTube channel, man. Good stuff over there. He gonna get 1,000 and beyond as well. Uh, He said, "Salute, brothers. Definitely appreciate y'all." Well, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. But one thing we're going to make a transition. We're going to go ahead and go to Grambling
Yep.
securing a trademark, and there's been constant, and a lot of people didn't know this. I didn't know this. And there was decades of legal battles going on for them to secure the big G on their helmet because the Green Bay Packers
Green Bay Packers, and they
and
had
the Georgia Bulldogs had similar logo. But as of now, 2026,
I think few weeks ago,
a
something like
few
that.
weeks ago, and now it's a federal trademark, so they can keep their G, so they don't have to be worried about getting sued by Georgia or Green Bay. Now, I try to keep it nice in the sandbox, play nice in the sandbox, but I have to say this: a lot of our people, our own people, with our same color or same hue. I've seen some of them in these comic sections of these articles saying, whoop de doo, they kept their G, and what's so special about it? Do you know the history of Grambling? Do you know the history of Coach Robinson? Do you know the history of a lot of these, like schools like Southern and especially Grambling, because that's what we're talking about, where basically the only schools where a lot of these talented black brothers back in the 60s, 70s, and 50s could go to was a Grambling, was a Southern, was a Mississippi Valley, Jackson State, so on and so forth. So I understand you're speaking out of ignorance because you don't know no better. I can't take stupidity, especially with all this technology we got nowadays to learn something about your history. I'm talking to the black folks now. I understand white. Well, it doesn't matter. Why is this news? Okay, he kept the G. Of course, no disrespect, and shout out to the the white people that do, or I should say this, or they are educated of why this is so special or why this is so meaningful for Grambling or HBCUs in general. But when you see black people acting like they don't, it's baffling. It's baffling. Chris said, and salute sister. Sister Chris M5 is in here. Always support and appreciate you, sister. She said, "Hey, y'all, sad about my Bulldogs, but very proud of them. Hopefully, you are doing well." This is Alabama A&M alum in here. Support her Bulldogs. They must have lost that basketball game.
Yeah, SWAC tournament.
It's SWAC tournament, but yeah, be proud of them. I know Mississippi Valley needs some prayer. They bad in basketball too. Lord. But back to what what I was talking about. It shocked me, Coach. A lot of black people are acting like, well, it's what's so special about it?
So
They
big.
don't understand. This has been for years, since 1998. In 2026, they finally can keep their logo. Come on, man.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. One of the phrases, my dad used to use, may he rest in peace. All the time he used to say, N words that never make a nation. And it speaks to two things. one thing it speaks to is there's black people and then there's N-words. And, I don't want to be around no N-words. Black Fight Fan and 7-8. I used to love Trill Boss and used to talk about, you know, the bootlicking, buck dancing, sambos, and the banana eating monkeys. Black Fight Fan, you talking about banana eating monkeys, you know what I'm saying? Right? And not only that, but it shows that amongst our race, it's just a lack of unity in many instances, you know what I'm saying? Like some black people say, all skin folk ain't kin folk, you know what I'm saying? And I can't stand
Yeah.
when, you get black people on these different platforms. First of all, for saying whoop-de-doo, no big deal, who cares? Like you said, they don't understand the legacy, the history, the tradition of HBCUs, and, whether we acknowledge it or not, like Grambling is one of the HBCUs that put HBCUs on the map, you know what I'm saying, from a
Yes.
historical point.
And had
So,
one of a lot of people argue will say that probably had one of the best coaches that ever lived
yeah,
in Coach Robertson,
and not on that, well, I mean, you
black
know,
or white.
people don't really realize, first of all, Eddie Robinson graduated from Southern, whether people realize this or not, right? And then
All right.
in addition to that, somebody like myself, I'm always say A.W. Mumford better than Eddie Robinson because he was Eddie Robinson's overstudy. Eddie Robinson came up under him. And I think more than anything, he just had a long life and he greatly outlived A.W. Mumford. But at the end of the day, Eddie Robinson, a legend. But not on that, but like I said, for years and years and years, that's the reason why we say Grambling is a blue blood from a historical standpoint. People don't really realize that, Grambling put out, so many, players in the NFL from a HBCU football standpoint. And not only that, but HBCUs just in general that contributed to every aspect of culture and society here in America. You know what I'm saying? So to disregard, Grambling, man, it's come on, man. I mean, this was monumental in terms of them getting that federal trademark. So for black people, for people in general to be dismissive to me is an insult. But for black people in particular, man, it's highly insulting. And it goes to show you that, whether you went to HBCU or PWI, you got just a bunch of bootlicking, buck dancing, banana eating monkeys and sambos out there. You know what I'm saying? So if you saying anything, you speaking ill of this, monumentous occasion from the standpoint of them finally able to get their federal trademark and not understanding the significance of that, shame on you.
Facts, man. It blew my mind. And I normally I try not to watch the comments or the replies, because I know people would just say anything, but it shocked me. There was a lot of black people, a lot of black people, and I was like, man,
Bro, I'm not gonna lie.
yep,
And
years.
you and I talked about this, on this platform. That was part of the reason why I took such great offense when Cam Newton, was down in Grambling and Cookman when they had they
They
brawl.
scuffle.
Yeah, I'm like, if that would have been LSU and Auburn, I guarantee you wouldn't have had the same energy and same smoke.
He would not.
But the thing about it is, it's not just it's not just Cam Newton, and it's not just, in this context, but on so many different levels and so many different ways. You got black people, you even got black people that graduated from HBCUs that really don't understand the significance of this. So at the end of the day, sometimes you could be an educated fool. You got a lot of, individuals that's ignorant, but yet quote unquote educated. Just because you got a degree, even master's degree or whatever, that don't make you smart. You know what I'm saying? Because, my whole run in with a
Facts.
bunch of individuals from Jaguar Nation when we talked about the whole, did they change the uniforms fiasco where across multiple Facebook groups, Southern University Facebook groups, I was getting dragged. Like, look at this ignorant ninja here. And I'm like, look, I'm just trying to create
A
dialogue
dialogue,
so you
conversation.
come over
Y'all
to
calm
the
the hell down.
But, and I'm not gonna lie, and Crook and Merlin Alexis and Tedrin Leathers, in the conversation, man, y'all do realize this coach, right? Like he trying to get y'all over to his platform so to engage y'all in the conversation, but they go to show you how you got a lot of ignorant niggas. I'm just gonna say it. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. A
It
lot of
is what
ignorant
it
niggas
is.
on Facebook. And not just on Facebook, but just throughout the world, just in general. So whether you educated, whether you graduated from Grambling or Southern or whatever, you just got a lot of ignorant niggas out here. Point blank, bottom line, period. You know what I'm saying?
Period. Yeah, man. It's but overall, man, I'm happy for Grambling. That they don't have to worry about that. That legendary gold and black G stays with Grambling. That's been um the Gramblers trademark for generations, man,
Yeah,
for
and, and,
years.
and one other thing I want to point out too, shout out to our brother Jay Good. This is a conversation that he and I have behind the scenes in terms of, when you have a trademark, a logo, and a certain set of colors, like when it comes to modern stuff, you shouldn't have to like pivot in terms of like being cool, being hip. I'm gonna give you an example, right? He pointed this out. He was like, when you look at the Dallas Cowboys, you see that star on the side of the helmet. They're gonna have a white jersey, whether they're home or they're away. They're gonna have the same pants, same helmet, same jersey, like almost every game. And he said the same thing with
Right.
the Alabama Crimson Tide. The same thing with Green Bay Packers or whatever. And he was saying, you know, a school like Grambling, even Southern, like, you need to get, in terms of establishing identity and having brand recognition. He was like, you don't want constantly like flip flop and change uniforms and this, that, and the third. So he was talking about Southern, but to a large extent, he was talking about Grambling because, when you think of that black helmet with that gold G on the side and the black tops and the black bottoms, I'm so synonymous with seeing Grambling with all black. I love black. There was a point where, I was like, man, hey, Southern should get some black uniforms, with some white helmet. And they were like, nah, man, like, it's so much the fact that in About You Classic, I'm so accustomed to seeing, Grambling wear all black, or even if they don't wear all black, they got black helmets, gold jersey, black pants, or whatever. Like, nah, you really can't rock all black because Grambling is more synonymous for all black than Southern. So
Yeah.
that's why Southern got the Navy tops. But he was saying just from a brand recognition standpoint, the significance and importance of that G with Grambling, and more than anything, now that Marshall Faulk is the head coach of Southern, like I know you want, switch up uniforms to really appeal to the younger kids nowadays because it's a different generation. They don't understand the tradition, the history, the legacy, the significance, and all the other stuff. But he was like, look, one of the ongoing jokes at Southern, well, at least, other fan bases in the swag was all the shades of blue of Southern. At one point, Southern was known for wearing like royal blue and the Pete Richardson, even though Southern's uh, school colors are Columbia blue and gold. And Jay Good was basically saying, like, look, hey, you need to, get some Columbia blue and gold uniforms and just stick with that and have, royal blue and navy blue and Columbia blue and any other kind of other blue. Hey, let's just stick with your bread and butter and just keep it like that. And he was saying, from a brand recognition standpoint, you see with the Dallas Cowboys, the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Green Bay Packers, and to a certain degree, Grambling. So that's why, them getting this federal trademark is historic and is important and significant from a historical standpoint, from a brand recognition standpoint.
Facts, man. Yeah, I agree. But overall, I just to wrap this conversation up, I'm glad. I'm so glad. I'm happy for Grambling. They was able to keep that trademark because I can't imagine them to have what were they gonna switch to? Like like the Bengals had their helmets where they have the tiger claws or whatever. What were they gonna do?
And
The
not
G
only
the
that,
G is legendary.
but you don't have to, have to pay. I think at one point they used to have to pay the Green Bay Packers for having that G. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Just like you said, Green Bay Packers, the Georgia Bulldogs, those two institutions have G's on the side of their helmet also. So
Georgetown too.
from a historical standpoint, like you don't have to kick out bread to another institution for a trademark.
Yeah. Yeah, man. But shout out to Grambling. That was a victory right there.
Yeah, and I mean, even though, in my personal opinion, they're the biggest rivals, but if you ask a huge contingency in Jaguar Nation, they'll say Jackson State is probably in this modern time. But I think historically and overall, I think Grambling is the biggest rival. But even with that being said, you know, I look at the other HBCUs as like family members. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? You know, you and I made a pact when we first started out. Like, hey, you know, any issues we have, we're gonna handle it in house, and we ain't gonna never beef. But the same token, if we were beefing, if somebody else came for you, I have a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? So
Facts.
anybody outside the HBCU realm, if you talking, you know, trash about Grambling or Jackson State, Mississippi Valley, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Texas Southern, Prairie View, hey, we got a problem with that. You know what I'm saying?
And that's
So
how it should be. Yeah.
beef amongst each other, hey, that's all in. But outsiders, no, outsiders ain't welcome coming in here talking that greasy nonsense. That's why I was so pissed and I was highly offended at Cam Newton. Like I said, if that had been Auburn and LSU, and he would have had the same kind of smoke and energy for him. So at the end of the day, like, look, bro, I don't care if you did have people that went to HBCU. I don't give a damn. I could care less. Hey, you didn't graduate from HBCU, so keep HBCU names out your mouth. And let's see, and
Especially if you know what you're talking about. You don't
yeah,
know what you're talking about.
especially when you got an SEC team that's going to be in the exact same situation. Because guess what? If we keep waking up in the morning, I guarantee you, the situation that happened with Grambling Bethune-Cookman is going to happen in the SEC. Let's see if he's going to have that same energy then.
Facts, man. And right now for those who are our basketball fans and the SWAC, Southern is up against Florida A&M 43-37.
Yeah, hopefully Southern men and women can pull it out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Desmond Allen, what up, man? He said, my dog, Coach 67 Sports TV, go Jags. Them boys up right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute to your family.
And Desmond Allen said, Grambling is Southern biggest rival, and I'm from Jackson, and I played for Southern. I remember that. Desmond Allen told us that story.
Yeah, I know. I ain't
Everybody
gonna lie.
booed him.
It was so funny when he said for National Signing Day, he from Jackson and he signed for Jackson State. And he said he started booing him. Hey, it kind of remind me of, this local cat. He was a dog, and we thought sure he was going to LSU. And he signed with Alabama. And his own mama took the Alabama hat and threw it on the ground and stepped on it. I'm like, oh no, babe. Come on, babe.
No.
You can't do that. So at the end of the day, when it comes to like these rival cities, like Desmond Allen being from Jackson and ended up playing for Southern, man, hey, that was frowned upon in Jackson.
Yeah, well, matter of fact, he said Grambling is Southern biggest rival, and I'm from Jackson. And I already read that. He said that's the younger Jackson Nation crowd after Katrina who hate Jackson State.
Oh no, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like this new wave, if you ask people from our generation, we'll say Grambling is Southern's biggest rival. But if you ask these young cats nowadays, oh man, I'm not even gonna lie, they'll tell you Jackson State in a Baton Rouge minute. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, I know Jackson State is a huge rival, especially with Coach Prime and them having the resurgence in Jackson. But I don't care what nobody says. It's gonna always be Grambling to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree. Because Jackson State fans felt I should sign with Alcorn because Jackson State had better chance of beating them. Yeah, that.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it was, I think they either wanted him to sign with Jackson State or Alcorn State. Hey, they probably wouldn't have been mad at Valley.
Valley, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
I think that it was just a Mississippi school thing because, you're a
yeah, it
Mississippi,
was.
huh?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
And I mean, and that's the thing about it. All three of those institutions view Southern as a rival at the end of the day. So the fact that he went all of their rival, I think had he signed with Alcorn State or Valley, it probably wouldn't have been as bad. But the fact that he signed with Southern, oh yeah, they booed him. I ain't gonna lie. The first time he wrote that story, I ain't gonna lie, I died laughing because we thought
Cause
that
you
was
can
so.
imagine it. You
Yeah,
can,
yeah,
yeah, man. But hey, long as you had a good time, man, that was your decision, no one else. And
yeah.
he said back when I was at Southern, our biggest rival was Grambling and FAMU, then Jackson, in that order.
Oh no, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, fam, you definitely was a huge Southern rival, especially like in them mid-90s when when Southern and FAMU was going at it, and it's the Celebration Bowl. Now it's the Heritage Bowl back then. I'm not gonna lie, FAMU was the best team in the MEAC for a good portion of some of them years, and Southern was the best team in the SWAC. So it made for a hell of a rivalry. And then this the irony. People might not realize. I always talk about how you got a lot of people from Baton Rouge, uh, that end up going to like Jackson State and Prairie View and Texas Southern, wherever. But you got a large contingency of people that's from Baton Rouge that end up going to FAMU. And the irony is, the person at one of my previous schools, I replaced him as like the athletic director, the head football and head basketball coach. His wife went to FAMU, and he graduated from Southern, and she from Baton. They both from Baton Rouge. And I was like, man, coach, that's crazy. He like, yeah, coach. He said one year they went to that the Heritage Bowl, and when Southern was up early, she was quiet as a church mouse. But when FAMU came back and took the lead, or she got the tongue greasy, which when Southern won,
Oh, I bet.
it was a different story at the end though.
I bet.
I ain't gonna
He
lie.
said,
I ain't gonna lie, bro. He told that story so many times. I laughed every time he told me that story.
yeah, that's what's fun about it, man. The rivalries, man, and just even there's fun in being wrong a lot of times in these rivalries. So yeah, Desmond Allen said, "Great show, guys. Keep doing your thing. Go Jack." Yes, sir. I appreciate you supporting, man. Coming by.
Yeah, and I ain't gonna even lie. Even when I was married to my ex-wife, now I'm telling you right now, my next wife, hey, if you ain't Jaguar Nation, I can't do it. But for the Bayou Classic, she from Monroe. It used to be fun at times. Hey, I'm Team Southern and she Team Grambling. But of course I wouldn't do that again. But I don't like, it made things interesting, especially around that time of year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, man. That's the fun of it.
Yeah,
Speaking of Jaguar Nation, man, what? There's still a little fake of Marshall Faulk debate going on. Like there's some fans that don't like how he moving. But my thing is, even Big Joe spoke about it, touched on a little bit last show. The brother just got there. I say just get greater even after a couple of games, and then judge him. But the brother just got there. Like, damn. I'm speaking to ones who are just talking shit about Marshall Faulk, and he ain't even showed like we ain't even like you said we ain't even hit spring the scrimmage game yet.
yeah.
So going on over there, coach?
Well, let me say it like this. I'm gonna be blunt about it. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, right? When I talked about there's a certain contingency of Jaguar Nation, some ignorant ninjas, I'm gonna just keep it a buck. It is what it is. I'm not even gonna lie about that. The first time I really got to see it is, on social media, particular in these different Southern University Facebook groups, when I just asked a mere question, hey, should Southern change their uniforms? And they're like, all the problems Southern got, you worry about some damn uniforms. I'm like, bro, it's just a question. You know what I'm saying? More than anything, I was trying to generate dialogue and push you to my channel.
Right.
But if I'd have known it was gonna turn out like that, I would have never took the approach I took. And that's why ever since then, all I do is post a link. I don't care what people say under the post, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. I just post a link to whether it's this show or to one of the shows on my channel. I just post a link and I just keep it pushing. I don't really try to engage in dialogue unless it's somebody I know, somebody I rock with, and we just having like some good banter, some back and forth, or if I need to enlighten them or educate them or whatever the case may be, So, with me saying that, the reason I'm saying that, there's a certain portion of Jaguar Nation, they're just pessimistic people. You know me in real life, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
you're like, hey man, coach is a positive, optimistic person. He sees the glass as being half full as opposed to half empty. And I always try to speak hope and life into people and so on and so forth. And I always see the glass being half full, whereas you got certain individuals, they see the glass being half empty. I made it clear from the outset, I wanted Chennis Berry or I wanted Trey Oliver. Trey Oliver and Chennis Berry was my top two candidates in that order. I would have been content with either one of them. But once they signed Marshall Faulk, and I dropped a 90 playing video, probably like a couple of weeks prior to him actually hiring him. Once one of my coaching friends convinced me that, hey, this would be a good move, and I did it. I never thought they was gonna actually hire him, But at the end of the day, I'm like, look, man, I'm rocking with this dude. I'm supporting this dude until I have a reason not to support him. Until he gets to the Terrence Graves, Eric Dooley, Jason Rollins, Stump Mitchell type level where I can't support you no more. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, there's always going to be, no matter who you hire. You could have hired Nick Saban. You could have hired Les Miles. You could have hired Pete Richardson. You could have hired Dawson Nolan back. It don't matter who you was going to hire. There was always going to be a certain portion of Jaguar Nation that wasn't going to be satisfied no matter who you hired. Even if you hired Trey Oliver or Chennis Berry, it didn't matter who you was going to hire. There was going to be a certain percentage of Jaguar Nation that wasn't going to be content no matter who you hired. And that's the facts. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it could have been Trey Oliver, it could have been Chennis Berry. They'd have been like, hey, you paying him too much. He didn't do this, he didn't do that, whatever. And so no matter what you did, there was always going to be some rumblings, right? And then, to me, I'm not going to lie, bro. I understand it's the off season. There's not a lot happening. You really don't have no clips of Southern University in helmets and shells. You really don't see. You didn't make it to the spring game yet. And I mean, I understand. I'm not saying everything he's doing is perfect. My point is, we really hadn't got far enough down the road to see if this is a bad hire or not. But you got a certain percentage of, oh, this was a bad hire, He didn't show up to National Signing Day at TJ Reeves. He went to press row at the Super Bowl. He didn't wear no Southern University merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't change the link in his bio to the head coach of Southern University. Hey, he
Just
did
nitpicking, man.
and he did another interview since then, and he still hasn't wore any Southern University apparel or merchandise. He hasn't done enough community outreach. He hasn't, and people don't realize. I talked to somebody recently. They was like, man, look, bro. Like, he's doing more behind the scenes to upgrade Southern University facilities. He's doing more for Southern University than y'all think. Y'all just don't see it. So at the end of the day, it's like, man, come on, man. Just let the dude do his job. And like Adrian Crook said, he letting the real coaches coach. Like Big Joe said, Big Joe and Adrian Crook. Adrian Crook played for Southern. Big Joe played for Louisville. They said the exact same thing. They just phrased it differently. Whereas your position coach is the person you're going to see day in and day out. And the head coach is more the face of the institution, the face of the football program. And he does other things behind the scenes. So at the end of the day, and even Big Joe, he gave his two examples at Louisville. One head coach, was kind of like a Marshall Faulk, and Charlie Strong was kind of like the opposite. So at the end of the day, it's like, bro, like, I feel like
Right.
it's not a real story. It's much to do about nothing. It's like people just want to find something to bitch and moan and bellyache and complain about. Come on, man. Like, look, let's get to the spring game. Let's see which strengths Southern University has as a team, what weaknesses, what level of intensity the blue versus gold spring game is. Uh, are there a few areas of need, or do they have a bunch of areas of need? So let's see what they actually look like as a product on the field, because all of that stuff I say they complain about, I guarantee you, come November, if Southern University is on the run and they're getting ready to gear up to win the SWAC West and then win the SWAC championship and then win a Celebration Bowl, I guarantee you, this conversation is not going to mean a damn thing. However, if Southern is struggling, then they're going to point at stuff like this. But I guarantee you, come November, if Southern winning and they're taking names and they're kicking behind, this conversation is going to be a moot point. It's going to be irrelevant. So at the end of the day, I feel like certain people are fault finding and nitpicking. They find stupid stuff to complain about. And that's why individuals like, Kevin Walker, he was like, man, coach, I just can't wait to be, because 2 weeks ago when we was at Southern last home basketball game and my mom and I was leaving and I bumped into him and Chuck Fontenot. I talked to Chuck Fontenot first for like a second, and I talked to Kevin Walker after. And, he was like, man, coach, I just can't wait till we get to the season because, man, I'm tired. When he said season, he meant, spring football, the Blue versus Gold spring game. He was like, I'm chomping at the bit for some football. I'm ready for football, but I'm tired of, this non-story. And then the thing about it is you have other fan bases in the SWAC, like pouring gas on the fire, fanning the flames. It's been weeks. And then the thing about it is when you have these different content creators, it's not my job to tell other content creators, like, what to talk about, what to cover, this, that, and the third. But, first it started with Reggie Flood, and then you have Perry White with the Jaguar Journal. Now Jeff Lightsby has talked about it. Like, it's a big story in the HBCU realm, in the HBCU space. To me, I'm just sick of the damn conversation. That's why on my channel, I tried to turn the channel in terms of, change the topic. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about what we need to see in this upcoming 2026 Blue versus Gold spring game. And I'm just tired of hearing about the Marshall Faulk negativity and so on and so forth. Because at the end of the day, I feel like it's much ado about nothing. It's a dumbass conversation as far as I'm concerned. And it's like my niece said, it's a nothing burger. Like, it's nothing to really talk about. Like, so it goes to show you that it's really a day point in the season where there's not a lot going on, not a lot to talk about for you to be talking about this dumbass stuff,
Yeah, I agree. I'm not even part of Jag Nation. It's getting on my nerve. But let's see what everybody's talking about in the chat. My brother, first year football baller, the OG, the original, as far as gaming channels that was, just breaking everything down, how from PS2 to Xbox, PC. He was one of the original ones doing this. Now, all these big channels that you see, getting views and getting credit. He was doing that before all of them.
Man, salute to the brother, man. They don't like us to shine sometimes on YouTube, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
But yeah, we're gonna have to help that brother get out the mud. We're gonna get it back, you know what I'm saying? Already.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Big Joe Townsend says, salute to the family.
And salute to Big Joe, Old Hillside Bourbon Company, you dig?
Yes, sir. Speaking of Old Hillside, they go the link right there. If you like bourbon, like something to sip on around the house, go to that website right there. Good. I got me a bottle of Old Hillside bourbon.
So do I.
So the coach, it's good product. Black owned. Brothers from Durham Hillside. Please support. All right. And he said, go PV Panthers. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Speaking of PV, and shout out to Pops. He Coach Tremaine Jackson did his thing, and shout out to Coach Prom as well. They went over there and we talked about it on Southern Baller Show. They Coach Prime invited them to Colorado, and Coach Tremaine Jackson wanted to know how Coach Prime, uh, basically how he did everything, how he, coached in Colorado, and basically they were just, picking each other for information. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and shout out, first of all, shout out to Big Joe. Shout out to Big Joe Pops.
Who went to
Hopefully,
Prairie View A&M?
yeah, he's doing well, and he's on a minute and much better. Shout out to Jay Good. Shout out to Jay Good Pops. Hopefully he doing better too. He's on the mend
Yes,
also.
sir.
So, salute to both of them strong black fathers. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully both of them doing better. And everything went well with the both of them. But more than anything, this conversation that Jay Good and I was having behind the scenes in terms of the conversation that Coach Prime and Coach Tremaine Jackson had. Basically he was saying, Tremaine Jackson, I guess he really got the blueprint that Coach Prime used at Jackson State. But like Jay Good was telling me behind the scenes, he was like, I promise you, there's nothing that Deion Sanders told Tremaine Jackson that Marshall Faulk already doesn't have access to and probably isn't implementing behind the scenes that doesn't already. So at the end of the day, that blueprint that he gave to Tremaine Jackson, Marshall Faulk already has access to it more than likely, and he's probably already started implementing some of the stuff that Coach Prime already gave him.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I thought that was cool, man. And we, like I said, we talked about it a little bit, us and JB and Big Joe on the Southern Baller Show last Sunday. So, but yeah, just wanted to bring it up, of course, on the HBCU Fanatics. Desmond Allen said, I'm with Coach 67. I'm going to wait and see the type of guy. I wanted the head coach from West Georgia. I believe he was from.
Yeah, he went to he went to Grambling. He went to Southeastern, and I'm not gonna lie. I think he would have been a good candidate for a head coach, but from what I was told behind the scenes, it was like for all intents and purposes, he really wasn't willing to come to Southern.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, I think he would have been a good candidate, truthfully speaking. But from what I'm hearing, he wasn't willing to relocate to Baton Rouge, and then two, from what I understand, his interview didn't go well either. And that's the thing about it. Sometimes interviews, I'd have been to schools where like I went on an interview and I knocked it out the park. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I had interviews that didn't go well, and I still got the job. So sometimes interviews matter, and in other instances they don't. So I think it just depends on how bad they need you, how bad they want you. And one thing one of my professors told me at grad school at Southern, he was like, as long as you're dealing with people in political processes, you're always going to deal with politics. So maybe the politics had already determined that Marshall Faulk was going to be the guy, or the fact that he bombed on his interview was the reason why they didn't want to hire him.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you, man. Salute to J Bar. Always support. He said salute family in chat. Appreciate you always supporting J Bar. But it's still it still bothering me about the comments about that the Grambling trade logo trademark. But like you said, ninjas will be ninjas. But I'm just I'm glad they keep their logo and their trademark. But coach, like I said, we're gonna be here for a good time, not a long time. Uh, let everybody know where they can meet you and see you, and anything you wanna push or promote, please do so.
Well, you could meet me and see me here tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. with my good brother Jared011green, the General 7 Sports TV, another episode of the Black Man's Perspective, where we talk about improving the public perception of black men. And in addition to that, we also going to talk about conflict resolution amongst black men, amongst ourselves. We're gonna have an interesting topic. So y'all come through tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. In addition to that, you can also catch me here 3:30 Central Standard Time on Sunday for another edition of the Southern Baller Show. Come through, check us out. However, on my channel,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
Coach 67 Sports TV, you can catch me at Coach 67 Sports TV on all social media platforms. However, I am primarily here on YouTube. I'm probably, you know, I'm still dropping clips from Southern's home finale for the basketball game. I'm gonna constantly drop YouTube shorts from that game, but more than likely, I'm gonna drop some more content tomorrow morning. Probably gonna air a little bit before the black man's perspective. In fact, I'm probably gonna make it a lead into the black man's perspective, so we can kind of promo for that show. But y'all come through on my channel, come check me out. Y'all have a blessed and phenomenal evening. Salute to the awesome and amazing LDBC, and salute to the entire HBCU family. But for all the members of Jaguar Nation, go Jags! You dig?
Yes, sir. And you heard, Coach, we will be doing a Black Man's Perspective, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow morning, and then on Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be doing Southern Baller Show. So make sure y'all support. Also, with this show, make sure you hit the like button, share, subscribe. Appreciate everyone who came by and showed us love. Y'all have no idea. But this was another installment of the HBCU Fanatics. Y'all be blessed.
Peace.